the last time there were some of the disco producers were doing that. But with the demise of that, I don't know anyone not out there today who is a producer in the sense that Phil Spector was a producer. Two people who really worked closely with Phil when he was making his historic records at different times were Sonny Bono and Nino Tempo, who became sort of disciples of his. And I would suggest that you talk to Nino Tempo, who's a great friend of Sonny's and who's producing records today and has produced some great records on his own.
Phil Spector is a very unusual human being. Certainly not your everyday run-of-the-mill issue record producer. He extremely brilliant, extremely sensitive. The best ears in a recording studio that I've ever come across. He would hear things that only a dog could hear. He'd point something out many times. He'd have to actually point it out for me to hear it. Once I focused on it, then I got it. But he had incredible ears. He was very egotistical, and I don't say that in a negative manner, because I don't believe that he could have made the kind of records he made if he didn't have quite an ego. I think they go hand in hand. He was a very tough guy. Phil was in business, really tough. I've heard him on the phone talking some deals. Goes right for the jugular. But you've got to remember, Phil was a poor kid. Phil lost his father very young. When Phil was a kid, he had a weight problem in high school, I believe. He was overweight, and I think a lot of the fellas would make fun of him. And so that probably created the drive to get back. Phil always used to say to me, Gene, I wish I had bigger muscles like you do. So there were a lot of things in Phil that created the motivation to show the people back at school that the kid who was a little overweight, look at the weight he lost, and look at all the money he made, and look at the records he was producing, and look at the people he was rubbing elbows with. So I think all of that became part of the drive to be such a good businessman and to make all this money. One particular incident that stands out in my mind is when Phil came out to California to record Be My Baby. But one interesting thing happened. I was out in the room where the musicians were playing, and there was a lot of mistakes out there. There was a lot of imperfection out there. And I thought, oh boy, they sure haven't got this time. You've got a room full of 36 guys, and half of them are making mistakes. And I thought, how's he ever going to make this into a smash? But then I walked back into the booth, and Phil said, wait until you hear what I got. And I heard it coming back, and it was a miracle. It was glorious. And I said, but I just heard a bunch of mistakes. He says, never mind what's really out there. Listen to what I got in here. And that's where the magic came. Between the wires and the booth, Phil got magic. He caught lightning in a bottle time and time again. And this is the record that I heard.
is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and whenever I'm in Los Angeles, which is all the time, I listen to Rodney on the Rock, KROQ, FM, Pasadena.
Still no word from Phil yet. Well, I guess it'll take time. But they're off to Studio A at Gold Star here in Hollywood. Stan Ross, Larry Levine will be there to tell them all about the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound was a descriptive name given by someone else other than Phil. I mean, he didn't coin the phrase Wall of Sound. That Wall of Sound actually came through because at that point in time, and we're talking about 1961 now, just prior to that, or at that time, the most popular records were being made, the hits were being made with a group of 4 and 5 musicians. And so now Phil came in and he brought in a new rhythm section, which included 3 guitars, 2 basses, 2 or 3 pianos, horns.
2 drums.
Well, at that point there was still only one, but actually there were a lot of percussion because anyone that came in to visit the session got put on playing something, percussion usually. So we had all those people, and now the records weren't being made like that, you see. So there was this Wall of Sound. The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it. Studio A at Gold Star.
The basic Wall of Sound was the echo chambers, and it was because of overbooking the room with too many musicians. It sounded very small, very closed in.